Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Yahawah, here with a brief moment of wisdom, and it is midnight. Before I get started, I must give all honor and glory to Yahawah, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKadash. Now, this brief moment I'm here with at midnight is about how do we love God? And how do we love God is that we keep his commandments. We're not just going to take my words for it. We're going to jump right into the book of 1 John, chapter 5, and verse 3. And it reads, Salakia, I'm going to start at verse 1 for context sake. In the book of 1 John, chapter 5, and verse 1, and it reads, Whosoever believeth that Yahawah Shai Hamashiach, ignorantly known as Jesus Christ, born of Yahawah, ignorantly known as God, and everyone that loveth him that begat love, him also is that begotten of him. Verse 2, By this we know that we love the children of Yahawah, when we love Yahawah, and keep his commandments. And what? And keep his commandments. Verse 3, For this is the love of God, Yahawah, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So, further reiteration, I'm going to take us to the book of Exodus. I'm going to start at verse 19. Salakia, book of Exodus, chapter 19. Chapter 19 and verse 3 through 5. Bear with me one moment. Here we go, the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verses 3 through 5. And Moses went up to Yahawah, called unto him out of the mountain, Slakia. And Moses went up unto Yahawah, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. Once again, the Lord is saying, Thus shalt, telling Moses, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. Not the children of Edom, the so-called white man, not the children of Ammon, the so-called Japanese, not the children of Moab, the so-called Chinese, not the Persians, modern day Iran, not the Philistines, modern day Palestinians, the Israelites. No, he said to the house of Jacob and the children of Israel. Back to it, verse 4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle wings and brought you unto myself. Verse 5. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. Above all people. For all the earth is mine. Now this is the covenant. Actually, this is the commandment which is given. And there's one commandment. Here I'm going to in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 7. And this commandment is one of the commandments on how we must love God. And this commandment, the book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 7, Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Let me say it again. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. He is not playing. You're not going to play with his talk. You're not going to play with his talk. And this is what happens when you take the Lord's name in vain. I'm going to take you all the way to the book. Matter of fact, I should just go ahead and give you another commandment. I'm going to give you this out of the book of Leviticus. The book of Leviticus, chapter 11. I'm actually going somewhere with this now, so bear with me. The book of Leviticus, chapter 11. And I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna start at verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean unto you. Of the flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean unto you. Unclean means it is an abomination. And here's another one. Verse 12. Whatsoever have no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. Now, I'm going to jump to the book of Isaiah. Book of Isaiah, chapter 65. And I'm going to start at verse 4. As I say, I'm going somewhere with it. And this is where I'm going with it. The book of Isaiah, chapter 65. And I'm going to start at verse 4. And it reads, which remain among the graves. Which remain among the graves. Meaning you people that is alive and well, and lodge in the mountains, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things in their vessels. I'm going to read that again. Leviticus 65, verse 4. Which remain among the graves, you the living, and lodge in mountains, you that hide, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels. You that eat bacon, pork chops, hog maws, chitlins, and the broth of seafood broth, the lobster bisque, every abominable thing that does not have fins and scales. Verse 5. Matter of fact, I'm jump to verse 6. Because this is the main point in which I'm trying to get to. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but I will recompense, even recompense unto their bosom. Verse 7, your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, saith the Lord, which have burned incense and upon the mountains, and blasphemed me, the hills, therefore I will measure their former work into their bosom. Into their bosom. So with that, he's saying in verse 6, it says, behold, it is written before me, even I will recommence unto the bosom. Where is your bosom? Your bosom is your abdominal, your chest region. Your chest region. Now, in our communities, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indigenous communities, the number one disease in our community is heart disease, cardiovascular disease. And why is that? Because which remain among the graves and lodged in mountains, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels. You eat these abominable things. I'm gonna take you right back. I'm gonna take you right back to Exodus chapter 20 and verse 7. Now look, this is where I'm going with it now. The book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 7. Because we playing with his talk. You say you love him, you say you believe in him, but you play with his talk. Exodus 20 and verse 7. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless, and taketh his name, Salakia, will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Now he told you swine and the abominable things will be an abomination to you, meaning you don't eat it nor touch its carcass. But as you see here, you who are alive and also do try to hide, this is the punishment. I will not keep silence, but will recompense. And jump to Isaiah 66, verse 15 and 17. And it reads, For behold, I will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire, and by his sword, and by his sword, and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination, eating swine's flesh and the abomination, eating swine's flesh and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. Once again, I'm gonna go back to it. I got to go back to it, just in case you don't want to understand. The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 7. This is how you obey God. And this is what happens when you don't obey. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. You playing with his talk. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. And with that I yield. Yahawah, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahawah, Bahashem, Kadash, repent, and come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Repent. Shalom.